Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Robo Celestial here with a new video for you. Welcome to the part 6 of What If Deku Got One for All early season 1. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. So, we begin. Izuku Midoriya is currently using full cow leaping as fast and as far as he can, trying to make it to where the raid is taking place. Meanwhile, Bakugo is rushing to get to the raid area, over where the raid is taking place. All the villains were captured. Soon after, a large amount of Namus showed up, causing the villains to be freed as the heroes had to now fight the Nomus. The heroes are having a hard time with them. The only one that is really able to do much to them is Endeavor. Endeavor is working with a few of the heroes that are combat capable. The heroes are able to grab the Nomus so Endeavor can destroy their heads. The issue is that there are just so many Nomus. They're starting to overrun the heroes. The heroes are being pushed back away from the hideout. Two heroes who aren't allowing themselves to be pushed back are Endeavor and Mount Lady. She is able to swat most of the Nomus away, and Endeavor is spearing them and burning their heads off. It's then that a man in a nice suit steps out. He is wearing some sort of metal mask. The man raises his hand and pulls back. His arm transforms as he throws a shockwave punch, leveling everything in that direction. Deku finally arrives at the scene. He sees so much destruction over towards where the building is. Deku looks to see that there is a young girl under the rubble. Deku goes to his full power and leaps at the girl to try and move her out of the way. As he was moving closer to her, the building collapsed. He saw the building falling in slow motion. He knew that he wasn't going to make it in time. There is nothing he can do. He even tries planting a foot and powering up even more. 35%. He is about 20 meters away as he sees the roof just about to crush her. Then something happens. There is a massive explosion upwards. When the dust clears, Bakugo is standing there holding the girl. Bakugo has a different look on his face, the kind of face that Deku has never seen before. He looked pleased. From the shattered building, a beaten-up Endeavor slowly climbs out. His flames are barely still lit. He is exhausted as he stands up and says to the two, "Get the girl out of here and evacuate the city. I've tried everything on this guy. Nothing is working." Endeavor creates a massive fireball and then launches it at All For One. All For One just pushes out his hand, creating a shockwave, sending it right back. Bakugo puts out one hand, creating a massive explosion that is then focused to create a shockwave. As Deku creates a massive punch, the forces on each side of the fireball are then matched and the fireball is flattened and extinguished. Endeavor looks at the two a bit taken aback. "Aren't you two just students?" The two respond in sync. "Yeah, but that doesn't make us any less willing to help." Endeavor tells the two, "Well then, I grant you both permission to use your quirks in this conflict." Bakugo smirks finally. "I can let loose." Dead Arms makes it over to Bakugo and takes the girl out of his arms. "I'll get the girl to safety. You three do what you can to beat this guy." Endeavor creates fire spears and launches them at All For One, while Bakugo and Deku are creating massive shockwaves and launching them at him. All For One planted his feet into the ground, only being pushed back slightly from the massive amount of shockwave attacks that Deku and Bakugo are doing. They're both feeling the strain. They both know that if either one of them stops attacking, it's all over. Deku feels his arm muscles tearing, and Bakugo feels the pushback from each shockwave nearly shattering his arms. Bakugo is doing his best to redirect the force back towards All For One, because if he messes up and gets knocked over, that's it, they're all dead, while All For One is being pushed back. Enough, and then activates his quirk Impact Recoil. Deku and Bakugo are instantly sent flying into the air. All For One then begins to walk into the air. Enough is enough. Izuku Midoriya, it's time for you and that quirk of yours to die. One For All has seen its last day. As Izuku slams through an abandoned building, he hears the man say One For All. He wonders how this man knows about One For All. Who is this guy? He is so powerful. Just then Deku sees Bakugo rocket over to him, grabbing Deku with one arm, placing the other arm up and blasting the roof of the building open, before rocketing then both upwards. Just as they leave that blast range, the build suddenly explodes. All For One had thrown a shockwave punch from the looks of things. Deku is shocked by Bakugo's speed and mastery of his quirk. They land back over where Endeavor is. Endeavor says where he is. They assume he is talking about All For One. All For One grabs Deku's arm and slams him into the ground, breaking his arm. Izuku thinks to himself, I didn't even see him move. What crazy speed." All For One drops down to the ground, grabbing Deku by the face. "You're lucky I cannot forcibly remove your quirk, however killing you. Now that's quite possible." Bakugo rockets behind All For One, blasting him in the back with everything he's got until he can't lift his arms due to the strain. Due to the full power blast, All For One dropped Deku. All For One as a reaction kicked Deku, sending him flying through a building. Deku climbs out of the building with cuts and bruises all over him. He sees Bakugo about to be smashed by a full power strike from All For One. Deku closes his eyes. In his mind he sees All Might, his mother, his friends, everyone. It's like they're all giving him power. Deku then sees the prior users of One for All. The full Cowl's lightning is then being released all over his body. It's covering the area around him. 30%, 40%, no 50%. It keeps rising. 60, 70, 80. Dekus's body is starting to feel the strain. 90, 100%. Deku moves as a shockwave covers the area around him. The leg's bone that he uses to step shatters into dust. Deku gets between All for One and Bakugo. He yells United States of Smash. His fist collides with All for One's. The shockwave that was created as a result destroys a large amount of the area. As both Deku and All for One are sent flying back, Deku passes out for a moment and is caught by Bakugo. I can't believe I have to say this, but the only way we stand any chance of winning this is if we attack him at the same time. I've got enough left in me for one last full power blast. I'm going to need a moment to prepare for it. Endeavor returns landing next to the two. This area is cleared. The city is on its way to being evacuated, and he should be here any moment now. Bakugo begins preparing his rotation bomb. He uses both of his quirks to rotate the explosions faster than ever before, then rotating it in multiple directions to increase its rotation damage. Deku says to Endeavor, we need a few seconds to get ready, we need you to buy us some time. Endeavor nods. Izuku stands up on his good leg, while his other leg just dangles there. His left leg and right arm have been completely shattered. Endeavor flies at All for One, throwing flaming spheres and small fire blasts at him. All for One grabs Endeavor and says enough. He then absorbs Endeavor's quirk. Endeavor's flames fade and he is thrown aside as All for One lights up covered in flames. Deku sees this happen. As he does, he powers up to max. One for All surges throughout his leg and his arm. After he jumps, he plans to transfer all of the power from his leg into his arm. Bakugo says, ready, let's kill this guy. For All Might. Deku nods. Bakugo places one hand behind him, rocketing himself towards All for One. A split second later, Deku leaps at All for One. As they do this, All for One pulls back a smash. His arm grows massively as he throws his punch. It collides with Deku's arm and Bakugo's rotating bomb. The shockwaves are destroying the area around them. Then for some unknown reason, All for One's strength seems to fade. Deku and Bakugo are able to overpower him, sending him flying across back into a building. Bakugo and Deku both fall to the ground, unable to move either of their bodies due to the strain. Eraserhead rushes over to the two of them. I'm sorry I'm late. Thank you all for sticking around and I hope that you enjoyed. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that We the Celestials has many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description, so feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video. So goodbye and have a divine day.